Really would one have to, watch a show and literally need bleach in their eyes minutes after? But that's how I feel after watching Velma. It sucks. I think it really surprises me because it's as bad as everyone else says it is. It's so horrible. The jokes don't land. Um, you have to ask yourself why it was made because unlike She-Hulk, right? It was made specifically to troll fans. This one, I have no idea really why it was made because it's not appealing to fans of Scooby Doo. It doesn't like have even the dog in it, right? Scooby Doo the dog, which is like iconic and pretty much the main part of like the Scooby Doo franchise, and they don't even have the dog in it. And the characters are so much different, and I don't even feel that like they're trying to troll people. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. But today I just want to talk about like the hypocrisy of this show and how it really is very telling because of how they treat characters and especially with regards to weight. We hear it every day, right? Fat phobia, people are being discriminated based on their size. And to an effect, that is true. It's human nature to, discriminate, right? That's why we are able to go days without eating, for example, poisonous stuff, because you're able to discriminate, you're able to separate bad from good, and not everything is eatable. No one goes and drinks a full gallon of apple cider vinegar or hand wash soap and says, "Oh, it's just the same as water." We have to discriminate in many things, but unfortunately, that will happen when people are maybe not necessarily like you or people who are not like necessarily of your in group where people begin to discriminate. And certainly let's not pretend that there is some discrimination felt by fat people, but the hypocrisy of the matter is that like the fatphobia movement is mainly talking about how they are victims, right, and not necessarily how they are active participants in not only their own fatness, but how they treat other fat people. You find out that most of those who are in the fatphobic movement are women, and it really is um it really is telling, right? This fat acceptance stuff, you never really see it on the men's side. You never go to a men's boutique and see fat guys. It's always fat guys are mannequins, right? It's always slim guys, slim and healthy guys. And on the women's side, you go and then there's acceptance of all. You have fat women and stuff. So there's the corporations are making stuff for women, but certainly not for men. There's no um widespread acceptance of men and their fatness. And I'll get back to how this related to Velma, but it really is telling, right? Like even the fat movements where they are complaining about discrimination are not really accepting of everyone, especially fat men, and they are so bent on being victims that it really defeats the purpose. If we are being honest, right, we know when the advent of obesity, the obesity charts just went out of the roof. It's basically from the 1980s, right? And guess what has changed so much? People don't walk as much. People don't do as much. But you can see, okay, fine, people are taking cars and stuff and not necessarily like exercising as much, but that's not really the main issue because we know that exercise accounts for like 15% of someone's caloric deficit at the end of the day. So it's not necessarily about weight, about exercise and how much someone will move, but it's about what the person is eating. And we have so much fast food. Actually, having a drink every day, a fizzy drink, is so much part of people's diet. Like, and it has no grounds in, in the wild or in nature, but we see people actively drinking drinks which are made to taste like fruits and stuff, and it has so much sugar, so many calories. You have poisonous foods essentially being shelved and given to people en masse, and people are eating and getting inflamed and getting fat. And the number one reason is not the number one focus for the fat acceptance movement isn't necessarily to attack the food industry and the kind of food we have, but it's rather to attack the people who say you are not living at a healthy weight. To try and change the science, right? To change the reality that obese people are at a higher risk of dying, and it's really tragic. It's sad because instead of actually going at um, the perpetrators, right, of this massive food scam and illness epidemic, they go at like those who are only doing the right thing, or those who are only just the concerned people, and actually they go against a reality, making you think whoever is in the moment think that you do not have a choice, and it's very sad because if you look at it, essentially the corporations, the fast food places, the McDonald's, the Burger Kings, the and Procter and Gamble's, right? Those who make these soybean oil, these foods that cause inflammation and stuff like that, and those who have lobbied and paid scientists and funded false scientific research to say eating sugary foods, for example, is acceptable, and attacking fatty foods and stuff like that. Those are the people we should go after. And then once you are going after those people as a person who is overweight, who is trying to make a change, right? Your mentality flips so that you are not in that fat acceptance movement anymore, where you are accepting that, oh no, I'm going to be fat and this is just my reality. You are moving away from that and you are saying, hey, you know what? These corporations are causing so much damage. The foods they provide are so much damage. I'm not going to eat at McDonald's again. I'm not going to, cook food or something like that. Once you go after that, you're also then making changes, because you can't just know that McDonald's is bad and still be eating there. It's counterintuitive. So those people instantly deflate the switch and made a change, and that is how the movement should have been. The movement against obesity, but right now it is a movement for accepting obesity and fat phobia, and it's predominantly on the left, which is essentially what I want to say, right? Predominantly on the left, and you see people who are always virtue signaling about race, virtue signaling about gender. It's all in their stuff, but they themselves discriminate. And I think Velma, number one, is that kind of work of art that shows where the discrimination, where we have the woman from The Office, right? I think she's called Mindy Kaling. I might be wrong. Give me a second. Right? Yeah, mainly Kaylin, right? She's effectively fat now, right? I saw a recent photo of her, and she's fat now, and she is at essentially Velma in the series, and she's essentially a big part of the creative force. So why are there not as many fat characters as they say, right? Because they put so much, the people on the left, they put so much emphasis on representation and representation by race, so much that the character has been race swapped down. Velma is now Indian for some reason. It didn't really matter if that she was white. I don't really think. But I'm not really a big Scooby-Doo fan. But to see your characters race swapped, right? To see Shaggy is now black for some reason. All of these kind of stuff. But there's no representation on the side of fat people, right? Because they themselves, they know, and even though they push for fat acceptance, they themselves, they know that being fat, being obese, being morbidly obese, for example, is not as attractive. That's why you don't see it as much in the character, because as much as Velma is such a badly written show, right? Most people will say that the animation is good. The animation is appealing to the eyes, and certainly the characters some of them are very attractive, And it really is sad because they don't even believe the message they preach, right? Why aren't they equally, quote unquote, representing everyone, representing the fat people? Because it's it's not as attractive, and they want to retain as much of an audience as possible. It really is sad. It really leans left, and it doesn't go into that fat food being fat acceptance. And I think it's just down to the hypocrisy that if anyone is being honest and anyone is on the fat acceptance movement side, they do know inherently that it is not their bodily condition, right? Being overweight is not necessarily where they want to be. If you are being honest, it's not where you want to be, but to encourage other people so that they can accept the horror of their lives, right? That is what they are. That's essentially what the fire acceptance movement is doing, and it's just hypocrisy again on the side of people who are on the left and people who make shows like this, right? Anyway, that's all I have for you guys. If anything, I hope if you're overweight, you exercise, you keep fit, and you help yourself so that you don't end up in the hospital or end up on diabetes and die, and things work out. So it really is very painful to be overweight, and I'm hoping that maybe this message can touch someone else and it will flip the switch where we identify the real culprits, right, and also take responsibility for our actions, for our indulgence in those fast foods and sugary drinks and stuff like that, and make changes. Get on the keto diet, get on to water fasting, get into intermittent fasting, find a way to lose that weight, to de-age and become essentially the best you can become. Thank you.